How's it, guys? Man, I'm feeling kind of rough. It's been a tough 2 weeks. But before I get into it, let me quickly do my shout-outs. It's long overdue. So the first two guys I'm going to give a shout-out to, I've done before, but I feel they deserve a special mention. First is John Wood, whom I suspect is an American, and guys, we can't hold that against him. But John, thanks so much. You know, he's always commenting, positive comments. Sharing some pearls of wisdom. So John, thanks for that, and I hope your daughter does well in her studies this year. She's studying to become a veterinarian. The second person is Sandile Musengezi, who is currently down under in Australia and soon to be coming home. Sandile, you always have good comments. I appreciate them. And yeah, hang in there. It's nearly time. You'll be home sooner than you know. The rest of the guys, these are new guys to the channel, and forgive me, I'm trying to read off my paper and film at the same time. But these are all new guys who have placed comments lately, and that is Rap Critic, Lionel Communal Farmer, Jeffrey Ndazi, Calvin Mugoni, Nhlanhla Masuka, Mpelines, Edward Kirsten, Nakedi Manyani, Tardine Family, Koketso Tlabi, My Gregory, and Sifiso Mamela. My goodness, I can't read my own handwriting. Sorry about that. Guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate your support. As always, keep the comments coming. And any information that you have, doesn't matter how you farm, information is critical. Anything that you might have that you might want to share with me, please do so in the comments. I don't know it all. And I know there's a lot of things out there that I still need to learn myself, and it can come from anywhere. Right, getting to today's topic. As I said, I'm ragged, and it's self-inflicted. It's my own fault. Because I knew, or I have been planning, or had been planning, to get myself GPS collars since November last year. But I was suffering from next week syndrome, because you're always busy. And when you think about it, you think, okay, I'll do it when I get home, or you know what, I'll do it next week, and then next week comes and you've forgotten about it and you get busy again. And there's an Afrikaans word that describes this perfectly. Slapgat. I take full responsibility, it's my own fault. Now, I don't know how to directly translate that into English for our overseas viewers. But basically it means you've been lazy, you've been negligent, you just didn't take it seriously enough. But a direct translation would be sloppy bum. Yeah, I know it doesn't make sense. You've got to be Afrikaans to understand that. But anyway, so I was a little slapgat. And because of that, as you know in my previous video, they came and liberated some of my animals. Now, I was fortunate, I got them back. I'm not going to cover that all over again. But because of that, I've spent the last 2 weeks looking after this herd every single night. Now, I follow the moon. The first couple of days was nice. The moon came up early, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, for example, and would set by 10, 11, 12. So I'd get home fairly early and have at least a partial night's rest. But the last 4 or 5 days, the moon's been coming up 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Last night was 9:15, only setting 6, 7, 8 a.m. in the morning. So progressively, I've spent more and more time here looking after them. And just as well I did so, because my African neighbor next door was hit on Sunday night. They didn't take his cattle, but he had someone that was renting grazing or paying to have his cattle run in the herd. And this gentleman lost 4, which he hasn't recovered yet. And about 6 kilometers down the road on Tuesday night, I think it was, another neighbor over there lost 6, which he hasn't yet recovered. Another neighbor to the east of me was hit last week, and it was hit last night again. Once again, the animals are unrecovered. So it's been rough. Stock theft has been rampant, and although I was blessed and recovered my own animals, it was a wake-up call. Now, of course, there's another Afrikaans saying, spyt kom te laat. man, I just don't have a translation. But you're always sorry, and by the time you're sorry, it's too late. That's what it boils down to. Regret comes too late. That's the direct translation. So, yes, I regret not having got the collars when I should have. I regret suffering from next week syndrome. I regret suffering from it won't happen to me syndrome, maybe. Knowing full that it's a reality in this country. But fortunately, I got my collars, and as you can see there on Mbali, she's got a collar on. And I got quite a few collars, and I got them from a company called Grazer Track. Now, I could only find 3 companies in our country that sell these collars. I'm not saying there aren't any other, but a quick search delivered that, and I phoned some neighbors and farmers I know, and they gave me the names of the companies they use, and I'm not going to mention them. But I looked at Grazer Track, and I looked at the cost of their collars, and I phoned David, and I don't think he'll mind me mentioning his name, and I said to him, David, you know what? I've noticed that you guys are way cheaper than the others. In fact, your collars cost about 1/3 of the price. Does that mean they're 3 times better than you? Of course, David gave a wry giggle, if I may, and he said to me, he said, no, that's not the case. He said, but if you choose to take collars from us and you're not happy with them, you can happily send them back. Now, I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm not saying he's going to make that deal for everyone, but his confidence was so good that I felt the need to give him a go, and I'll tell you why. I paid 2,100 and some odd rand per collar, per GPS collar. The opposition is just over 6 grand. The general trend is you'd put 1 collar on per 30 animals. But I was underacting for so long that when they came and liberated some of my heifers, I basically overreacted and I bought 7 collars. Now you might say, Shane, are you mad? That's expensive. Why would you buy 7 collars for so few animals when only 1 is required? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Not all 7 are activated. Well, I can activate them at any time. And also, his monthly premiums are 1/4 of what the opposition is. And to me, if the herd splits up at night and you only have 1 collar, and the guys come and they can find animals where there's not a collar on or there's not a collar nearby, you could still end up losing some of your animals. So I just thought, you know what, I'll go overboard. I'll get a whole lot of collars, and I'm getting some more at the end of this month, because I want every animal to have a collar on, even though they might not all be activated. So that's my reasoning, overreaction. Anyway, to me, at the end of the day, this is an investment. As my herd increases, I'll already have all the collars I need. And the prices of the collars at the end of the day, compared to what you could potentially lose, and I'm going to come to that in a minute. It just makes sense. Now, the sad part is the gentleman next door who lost his 4 animals. There were 4 beautiful Bonsmara type heifers. One of them was actually on my previous video. She's pregnant and due to calf. He didn't find his animals. And he made a case at the authority, and he was struggling to get a case number, which I understand, because I registered my stock theft case last week, and I only received my case number yesterday. What's it, 10 days later? And I've already recovered my animals. So the authorities aren't always quick to respond. They're not always as helpful as they should be. I don't know why that's the case. So you need to make your own plans. And if they've hit you once successfully, you can be sure they'll be back. So, okay, as I said, I overreacted. I've got a whole load of collars. I've already put in an order for more. They'll probably be here in the next 2 weeks, 14 days from now. And guys, I can't tell you how good these collars are yet. I've only just put them on. Last night was the first night that I could actually go home and sleep in my bed. Yes, the alarm went off a few times, and I'll get to that later. But I had a little bit of peace of mind, and the moon is still fairly full. It was full moon 2 days ago. But I'm already feeling a little more at ease. So I'm going to give it a go, and once I've got some good experience with these collars, I'll come back and I'll do a more in detail technical video. Now, just full disclosure, I'm in no way being compensated for what I say here by the company involved. I'm just basically sharing what's worked for me and what I like about them. And of course, it'll take time to see what works well, what doesn't work well. Are the bells good quality? Are they poor quality? What's the coverage like? But for the most part, it's been a day, and so far I'm fairly happy. I'm fairly satisfied, especially because they're affordable. And you know what? I'm a firm believer of you get what you pay for. But at the same time, I think this company is fairly new to this segment of the industry. And I think their lower prices are not because they have a lower quality product. I think they're just trying to gain market share. So it's a marketing strategy to get their products out there in the field. I'm not the first guy to buy from them, but they most certainly haven't been at this as long as the original guys have been. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited. So far, I'm very happy. Now, I'm not exactly sure how these things work. When I spoke to David, I think he's a software engineer, if I remember correctly. Sounds way too intelligent for me, but in any case. But from my understanding, in the beginning, you will get a couple of false alarms. But there's an algorithm that over time learns how each and every animal moves differently, these with active collars on. So over time, it gets more and more accurate. You'll get less false alarms, but you can log in at any point in time. You can see exactly where your animals are, which I quite like. So when I had the alarms this morning, I logged in. The third alarm went off just after 3. It looked a little suspicious. I actually came out. It took me 20 minutes to finish up and then go home again, and I was able to get another couple of hours of sleep. That's nice. But over time, I expect these false alarms to decrease. And I expect the collars to become more accurate. At least that's what I've been told by farmers that have similar type collars on their animals. As you can see, Bella has a collar on, and you can know for a fact she's got an active one on. But yes, there are a couple of dummy collars here. And when the guys come, they don't know which is which. So it's rather safer to leave them than to risk it. Anyway, so guys, that's my long sad story. Oh, yes, I nearly forgot. Coming back to suffering from not me syndrome or procrastinating when you need to do things. So I was speaking to a farmer yesterday. He's got a different type of collar on, and he's told me the peace of mind that is brought him. But he mentioned that his neighbor was suffering from stock theft, and he suggested to this guy, listen, get some collars. The neighbor was a little resistant or hesitant. And by the time he'd lost 80,000 rands worth of animals, he then decided to get some collars. And ever since, it's been quiet. So sometimes I don't know why we're hard hearing, why we don't want to listen, why we don't want to look at things. But yeah, it took 80,000 rand to convince him that he needed to get some collars, which at the outset might have cost him 20k, depending on the brand he went with. Sometimes we're not as intelligent as we think we are. And I include myself in that, make no mistake. So anyway, guys, Grazer Track, if you're in the market, if you're looking for peace of mind, go and look at their website. I cannot comment as to how good their product is at this point in time. Full disclaimer. I'm in no way financially supported by them to promote their product. All I'm saying is, if you're looking for a budget-friendly option, they might be a good consideration. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut it short. I see I'm running out of time. Hope you guys have a good one. Hope you guys have a good 2025. I've said this before, but it's been a while since I posted. And keep the comments coming. Have a good one. Cheers.